The most important message for someone who's thinking about a loved one that's struggling with addiction is that we can only break the cycle by recognizing that addiction is founded in biology. It's not a personal failing, it's not a question of willpower. It is a rewiring of an individual's brain to favor the substance of abuse. Hi, I'm Nikki Crowley, Associate Professor of Biology and Director of the Penn State Neuroscience Institute. During Brain Awareness Week, it's really important to think about addiction and the toll that substance use disorders are taking on families. In the peak of the opioid epidemic, over 750,000 Americans died from an opioid overdose. And during that same period of time, an equal number of Americans died from consequences from alcohol use. Substances of abuse, like opioids and alcohol and other drugs, hijack the brain's natural reward circuitry. Our brain is already wired to find things to be exciting and reinforcing, like our social interactions and our friends and our family, or the things that we like to do or the foods that we like to eat. In the course of addiction, the substance of abuse starts to rewire that circuitry to more favor these substances versus all of these natural reinforcers that we have in our day-to-day lives. When somebody repeatedly uses a substance of abuse, like opioids or alcohol, it rewires the way that these brain cells naturally communicate with each other to prefer the substance of abuse versus the natural reinforcer. And over time, the brain then begins to adapt further. So what happens is that substance of abuse and the natural reinforcers in your life become less stimulating for you, and your stress circuitry comes online. So an individual who is struggling with a substance use disorder stops receiving any reinforcement or happiness from that substance and begins to feel heightened stress and anxiety whenever they're not consuming the substance. So the brain continues to adapt through exposure to a substance of abuse, where you have decreased reward activation, decreased pleasure from both your everyday life and from the drug, and then an increase in stress responsiveness when you're not consuming the drug. And this cycle of addiction leads people to continue taking a substance just to kind of dampen the noise of that overactive stress and anxiety that's happening in their brain. When the brain is going down this road of addiction, more and more substance of abuse might be needed to dampen that noise that's happening when stress and anxiety circuits are coming on. So we see a cascade of, over time, less and less reward from the drug, more and more stress from the drug, and therefore an individual might keep taking more and more of the drug just to get back to that neutral baseline that they felt before they were ever exposed to that substance. The cycle of addiction is breakable, so while the brain does adapt to the substance of abuse, it's plastic and it can go back. So science is helping us understand the neural circuits, the individual neurons, the way they talk to each other, what they're using to talk to each other, to understand what exactly is going awry in an individual that is prone to substance addiction and what is different in a brain that's not. And if we put these things together, we can solve what are the prevention strategies and treatments, both behavioral and perhaps pharmacological, that could help someone that's struggling with substance addiction.
There is a seem
They were like, we need one shot, and they were here for like 45 minutes.
for one shot.
My hope is we can coordinate across everybody and
Yeah.
for the fundraising.
Yeah, okay,
like,
yeah.
Stick it, because what I'd love to do is like,
More about sharing together, like ideas and stuff.
yeah, I just hadn't bumped her until we heard that.
Yeah, no.